Hi there, it's Karen at Corrie Paper Crafts here, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in central Scotland. Welcome back to another quick in-between project, and it's this one here. I've made a roll top gift bag. It's held together with ribbon and rolled over a couple of times at the top, so I'm going to show you how I did that. And I used a technique whereby I stamped with Versamark and my coloured ink and then heat embossed with clear embossing powder, so I'm going to show you how I did that as well. So I'm actually going to make a Father's Day gift bag because this coming Sunday in the UK it is Father's Day. But I thought I would let you see my prototype first. So this DSP is from the Ornate Garden Designer Series paper, 12 by 12, and I used the Positive Thoughts stamp set to stamp my flower and my leaves, and I used the Nature's Thoughts dies to cut those out. And this is the Old Olive and Pretty Peacock reversible ribbon, which is also in our current catalogue. So I'm going to show you primarily the roll top part and this specific heat embossing technique when I do my Father's Day bag. So I'm going to put this bag to the side and get on and show you how I made it. So I'll grab my scoreboard first of all, and you will need a sheet of paper that is 12 by 12, so when I'm scoring you'll only see part way scoring, but it's more important that you see the measurements at the top. So this is a piece of paper from the let me think now, the In Good Taste Designer Series paper pack, which is one of our new paper packs in the new annual catalogue. So it doesn't matter what way you start because it's 12 by 12, but if it's a directional paper, the first lot of score lines will be across the way with your pattern running up and down the way, if that makes sense. So you just need to make sure what way you want your pattern to go, and so do I. So I think I'll go back to that original idea. So scoring wise, on this side first of all, with my pattern the right way up, I'm going to score at 3 3/4 inches, 5 3/4, 9 1/2 and 11 1/2. And then I'm going to turn my paper round and I'm going to score at 2, and then I'm going to turn it to the other side so that my 2-inch score mark is now on this side, and score at 1/2 inch, and that's all my scoring done. So I'm going to fold and burnish on all my score lines. Paper creaser. This is a slightly easier pattern to see on the inside of the bag, thankfully, because the pattern on the inside of this one is quite a busy pattern, so it was a bit more tricky to see what I was doing on either side of the paper. So I'm only going to score my 2-inch score line for now. That's the bottom of my box, and I'm just going to ignore this 1/2 inch score line at the top for now. So I think it's easier to see on this side. So we need to do a bit of cutting for this narrow panel here, which is what joins our bag together, and these panels along the bottom, which is the bottom of the bag. So as always, we've got a narrow rectangle here which we're going to just remove completely, and I'm going to cut at an angle there, and then at the top of that section cut at an angle there. And then I want to keep my straight edges on my rectangles here and remove the score line onto those squares, because we're going to notch into the squares, as always. Same again here. Oops, my scissors caught on my knuckle there. And a notch here, and a notch here. And I'm just going to add some pieces of tape. So first of all, I need to add a piece of tearing tape along this edge here at the side. And just take your time to make sure that you get close to that folded edge, but not over the top of it. And I want my bag to stay well stuck at the top, so I'm going to just take that bit of tape off. I'm going to make sure that I've got it really neatly. And then I'm going to pop a piece of tape on each of these smaller flaps. It doesn't really need to go to the edge, but I've ended up sticking it to the edge, but it doesn't have to. And then this flap between these two shoulder flaps, if you like, is going to be the front flap, which closes over last. So I'm hoping that I'm getting this tape kind of close to the edge, because I'm not right above this like you are, because you're kind of here, but I'm over here. So to save it gaping at the sides, I'm just going to put 2 or 3 pieces of tape on, and again, depending on whether or not you're putting any significant weight in the bag, it just makes sure that that holds that base securely closed. So that's all I need to do for now, but now I want to join my bag together, so I'm just going to give this an extra press. Take off the backing, fold this a little bit back over on itself, and then I'm going to, I probably need to do it this way actually so that you can see what I'm doing. Just fold the edges of the bag together, and it should fold both ways because it's quite symmetrical. And then I want to make sure that I take off the backing on these little flaps here, and then pop, just to keep my bag neat, pop the back flap in first, and then these 2 side flaps like that. I hope you managed to see that. Apologies if you didn't, but what I did was I put the back flap in and then the 2 side flaps. I might have just pulled that a bit too far towards me, hopefully not. So I'm going to take the backing off the front flap, which is the last one to go over, and just join it together like that. And again, just come back in with my paper folder and make sure that I give that a good press. I'm making sure that I've got this seam here at the back. I just want to fold in these corners here and make sure that I line them up perfectly and squeeze it together. Now, making sure that I've got this smooth here and keeping that seam at the back, I want to then fold. It's easier if I lay it down first. Fold on that score line, that 1/2 inch score line that we made lastly, and just give it an extra burnish. It doesn't look very neat, but you'll always get that when you turn the bag over, but we're going to fold it over again. I just want to make sure that I give that a good burnish on both sides, and then coming back again, I just want to fold that over again. And with the bag forming its own little shoulders, you do still have room to do that second fold, which makes your bag a lot neater. So just give that an extra burnish with your paper folder, like so. and then you're ready to pop your ribbon in. So I'm going to use the denim ribbon. It's 3/8 of an inch, but I've made that score line 1/2 inch. So I'm going to grab my ribbon scissors and just cut this little end bit off. And you don't have to, but if you want to, you can pop a piece of tearing tape along the inside of the fold here. There we go. And just stick your ribbon to that. And this doesn't really make a lot of difference which way round it goes, but it kind of has a front side and a back side. So the back side is what you want to stick down to your tearing tape. So just make sure you're keeping your ribbon within that 1/2 inch gap, as straight as possible, and then fold your folds again, and you just want enough to be able to tie it in a double knot. And I'm just going to grab a clip to help hold that closed for now and cut it off about there maybe. And then I just want to tie a double knot in my ribbon, but I want to take this clip off now so that I can press down trying to get hold of that with my finger. There we go. And then tie the second knot of my double knot. There we go. And that's what holds your bag closed. Okay, so I probably could have tied a slightly better knot, but that's okay, I'm quite happy with that. So cut that there and cut that there. I always end up with a bit sticking up in the air, but that's okay, I'm happy enough with that. And my bag has kept its own shoulders, so it's ended up more of a box bag, which does make it easier for popping the sentiment on. So we'll pop that over there just now, and to do the sentiment for this one I'm going to use my Geared Up Garage stamp set. It's a cling stamp set, and I used this last year. It was in last year's annual catalogue too, but it's carried over into this year, and I'm using the Happy Father's Day stamp here. And I'm using the Garage Gears Thinlit dies, which again have carried over, and I'm going to use this one here. But I've actually prepared one in advance, so I'm going to show you the technique, but just miss out the die cutting part because it's a bit awkward to get my die cutting machine on the table. So you'll need a scrap of Whisper White card, or thick Whisper White card, and I used Night of Navy ink and my Versamark, and I've already got my Happy Father's Day stamp mounted on a block. So I'm going to open my navy ink and my Versamark, and I'm going to first of all stamp into my Versamark and make sure that my stamp is completely covered. There we go. And then I'm going to stamp on my navy ink, Night of Navy ink, make sure that that's completely covered as well, and then stamp down onto my cardstock and just make sure that I give the ink and the Versamark a chance to transfer. There we are. Now it looks like I've not stamped it properly, but that's deliberate. It's meant to be a grungy stamp. It's not a perfect image. That's part of the stamp. It's not my technique. And then quickly before it dries, I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper, and I'm going to use my clear Stampin' Emboss powder, and I'm just going to cover that completely in embossing powder, and I'm going to do that a couple of times just to make sure I've not missed any bits. So if you completely cover your image, you know that you've not missed any. There we are. So before I pour it all over the place, I'm just going to pop the excess powder back in there and get rid of the scrap paper. Put the lid on before I do that because I'm likely to wheek the whole pot of embossing powder off my desk. Now I am going to use my heat tool, which if you've seen other videos I have remembered to plug in today before I start, and I'm going to switch it on, and it's a wee bit loud so you might want to turn your sound down just now before I do that. And I'm just going to make sure that it's heated up enough before I actually put it to the embossing powder. So I'm just going to switch it on and just make sure that it's hot enough, and then you'll see the magic happen just in a few seconds, because you'll see that embossing start to change. It'll melt the powder and bring the colour of the ink through, and it'll end up nice and shiny because of the Versamark and the embossing powder. So that's all melted nicely. So I'll just pop that out of the way for now, and I don't know if you can see that, but it's all nice and glossy and shiny. So I would normally now put this through my die cutting machine, but I've actually got one that I made earlier just to save a little bit of time, and here it is here. So I've already heat embossed it and die cut it out. So all I'm going to do is pop some dimensionals on the back of here. Oops. And pop it onto my bag. So a couple here and a couple here, just to make sure it stays stuck. And pop that onto the front of my bag. So nice and quick and easy, and quite a nice effect. I like the Happy Father's Day. I maybe could have put that up a little bit. In fact, I think I will, because have I stuck it? Yeah, it's too well stuck now. I could have done with putting it up a little bit, but that's okay. And the roll top I really quite like, and the ribbon does hold it in place. So that's my two bags with the roll top at the top, and a slightly different heat embossing technique, just in case you've not seen that before. So a wee extra video just because Father's Day is coming up, and I'm about to make a few more of these. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. Any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them for you. I'll put all the details in the description bar below. I'm hoping to do a blog post for these as well, so I've managed to get back into my blog now, so I'll get caught up with that too. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in a few days, I would imagine. Take care, stay safe, bye bye.